It's important to remember that international trade leads to specialization, meaning that our country will shift the composition of goods which are being produced domestically, producing more of what we have a comparative advantage in producing and less of what we don't. So this means a shift in industries, importing some goods from abroad and exporting some domestically produced products. These importing and exporting markets go hand in hand. So we need to analyze both of them. We'll begin with importing markets. Here we have supply and demand showing a domestic market for this product. So this demand curve represents domestic consumers, and the supply curve represents domestic firms. This is the price and quantity in the market if the country was closed to trade, no international trade. Now we'll assume the country opens to trade. Of course, if we are importing this product, it means that the world price is below the domestic market price. We wouldn't buy something abroad that we could make cheaper ourselves. Right? The truth is vice versa. The world price will be below the domestic market price in an importing market. Now we can see what happens is that the domestic quantity supplied and the domestic quantity demanded change. Unlike when we had a price control where this distance represented excess demand, here, because we have trade on the world market at this price, the difference between the quantity supplied and quantity demanded is the quantity of imports. So we see a decrease in domestic production, but an increase in domestic consumption of this product. Now, if we think about what happens to surplus, we can see that consumer surplus, which used to be the area of this triangle here, is increased, right? The area above the price and below the demand curve to reflect the new higher quantity of imported products and the lower price paid by consumers. On the other hand, producer surplus has decreased because domestic producers now have to compete with cheaper foreign produced products. They sell a smaller quantity and obtain a lower price. So what we see here is a benefit for consumers in importing markets and harm to producers in importing markets. Overall, total surplus has increased. Recall that at the domestic market equilibrium, total surplus would have been equal to the area of this triangle. But now there's an extra piece here, and we can mark that as gains from trade. This is the increase in total surplus that results from international trade in this market. Note that that increase in surplus accrues entirely to the consumers in importing markets, and the producers in these markets are still worse off than if the country were closed to trade.